Hey everybody, Ryan with The Restaurant Boss. Today is Saturday, May 20th of 2023, coming to you live from Chicago. I'm at the McCormick Place at the National Restaurant Show 2023. I will be speaking on Monday morning as the third part of a three-part menu workshop series, and I just went through the first part. It was fantastic. Two amazing ladies. I'll put their information up here, their names, and maybe a picture of them later or during the edit of this if I'm able to get that. But from Buffalo Wild Wings, they did a very, very in-depth 90-minute boot camp kind of workshop on rolling out menu all the way from like ideation to execution. They had this great 4-step process, and then that process was broken down into multiple steps. It was really, really incredible. But awesomely, I ran into somebody who's a little smaller, a 5-unit operator that recognized me. So the first person who recognized me, that was cool, here at the show. But they have a 5-unit, and we just talked for a few minutes after, and he was like, wow, this was amazing, it was great. He's like, but like, it's big, like, how are we gonna execute this in 5 units? And so we talked for a few minutes after, and I just kind of want to share with you some of my big tips about when you're rolling out new menu items. So the first thing, the stuff that I teach, whether you're 1 unit or 10 or 15 units, obviously when you start get to 30, 40, 50, 100 units, you're gonna have a much more in-depth process. But what we have to do is a couple of things. Let's not talk about the ideation process right now, about how you're coming up with ideas, because there's a whole process to that. But right now, execution, right? You come up with a menu item. The first thing I like to do is no recipe, nothing, cook it, take some pictures of it, make sure it comes out the way that you want. Then I want to recipe it. And then what I want is I want to cook it again using the recipe. Does it still come out the way that we want? You can do that at home. But then the next step is use that recipe and cook it in your kitchen with your equipment. Does it come out the way you want? And then I don't want to say the last step, but maybe the last step or the next step is now give it to someone else to cook it. Using only the recipe in your restaurant with your equipment, does it come out the way you want? If someone else can execute it using just the recipe and no training, then you can create video trainings, you can create other trainings, you can create all kinds of other things, but you've got the basis down for what you need at this point, which is someone else can look at a recipe and do it. Now, what you want to be really careful of is making sure that if there's new equipment or spatulas or processes, that we've done some training on that as well. But really, that recipe should be clear enough that a brand new, not a brand new person, but someone on your team who hasn't seen this item yet can cook it and execute it the way that it's supposed to. And if they can't, then we've got to go back through that process. That's kind of my minimum viable process for rolling out a new menu item. Obviously, then you have to do training at the store level and all the other stuff, but that is the minimum viable process. 3 different versions of the recipe, or was that 4? That was cook it once, cook it a second time with a recipe, cook it a third time with a recipe in the store 4 times, cook it, then have someone else cook it in the store with the recipe only. I'm gonna be bringing you a lot more quick tips like this coming to you from the restaurant show. Again, I'm on the kind of training floor here, the 4th floor. The show's downstairs, I'll share it with you. But Ryan Gromfin coming to you live from Chicago, the show 2023. Have an amazing day, bye-bye.
Make It Happen is the book I wish I had when I was operating restaurants. Inside are the lessons that took me 10 years to learn and 10 more years of teaching to perfect. I've condensed the most important lessons into this tiny book for building a big restaurant business. I am on a mission to improve restaurants all over the world. Because of that, I want to send you a free copy. Grab yours today at therestaurantboss.com.